everyone. Just waiting for our little countdown for our streaming software. Hopefully, this is all working. It seems like it is. Welcome to another Rococo Office Hours. This is a special one with Shutter Authority, as you can see, who's joining me right here, who has an unbelievable YouTube channel with all of your favorite characters from our childhoods. Which actually I gotta pull up right now. Let's just show that. How are you doing, Raghav?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, Sam?
I'm doing good. I know I just asked you all these questions, and then I always repeat them for the stream. But I do genuinely, maybe something's changed in the last 5 minutes.
Few seconds, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Hold on, let me pull over your YouTube channel because I just want to open it up. Yes, so this is your amazing 4.21 million subscribers. Bananas. You just did the Spider-Man film, which was awesome.
Thanks, man.
Oh God, yeah, and there are always so many VFX shots and all. I mean, it's entirely
this
VFX.
One was entirely VFX.
How long did this take?
This was like a few months, but in
Okay,
between
yeah,
I was
right.
doing a few other things. From the day we started modeling stuff to the day we posted it, I think it was 3.5, 4 months.
Oh my God, and you model like everything,
Yeah,
basically, too.
me and my artist Satish, we both did all of that.
It's ridiculous. It's so much work. Oh my God. I'm just
We just had
that
so
a-
much fun.
Is that a photo scan of him in that shot?
No,
Or of the actor?
No, that was actually it was not a photo scan. I think it was that PIF UHD thing. So it was that one image to model sort of thing, because we didn't have the time to do a proper photo scan, and because he had a lot of hair, I really didn't want to have like a hair simulation or anything. I just wanted some kind of a proxy object of that guy. So we just went the easy route and then projected the texture onto that model, and it worked pretty good.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that you can do all those. You just take a photo, right, and then it generates like a little. Yeah, right.
And it's really good. I mean, if it's a shot where it's just far enough and moving fast enough, then it works.
Right. Yeah, it just works fine. Yeah, which is like half of all VFX shots, right? It's just someone in a car or whatever, or like in a car crash, or Cool. Okay. Well, people are trickling in, but as usual for office hours, we are going to record some free mocap, and Rog is going to be the. Is it okay? Is Rog a good nickname? Is that okay? Is going to be the director, because then we're going to be turning over that mocap. I mean, we'll make that mocap available for anyone to download, as we do every week. I think we're up above 100 free assets. No, more than 100 at this point that we've made, which is, I think, cool. And those are all available. Yeah, and we'll keep making more. I think it's always, we were doing these streams for a while and we weren't making mocap, but it's so easy and fun to do. And selfishly, it's a good way to show off the product, which is,
people have the opportunity to have custom assets done.
Yeah.
And there's that chance too, yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. A lot of Cricut requests. We get a lot of. I've had that like a bunch of times, which the suit actually does really. And then it's always me trying to do things that I have no idea how to do. And
have you played Cricut or?
No, I never have.
Okay.
But I'll look up a couple of videos and.
Right.
My pitch was pretty good. My bowl.
Cool.
Was it a bowl?
Yeah.
A bowl.
A bowl.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So we are going to record some mocap, and then we're going to pass it over to Raghav, who does all of his work in Blender, and so then we're going to take a look at some incredible retargeting Blender workflows that he's come up with in the last few months. I think kind of new workflows, but really easy. Yeah. And kind of that's what we all like in CG World, and so it's gonna be fun. So I'm just gonna go picture-in-picture mode here, and I think you guys can see my full screen. You should be able to, and I'll just kind of make myself a little bit go like this. Let me check yes, so you can see me, and I'll give my little spiel about what I'm wearing. which is a Smart Suit Pro 2, which is the single battery version. So I just have a single battery that powers both my gloves and my suit, which keeps it nice and light. And I'm going to be wearing some smart gloves. And then we are going to be working in Rokoko Studio Legacy, which we are still working in. Beta is out, and it is getting better, but it is not ready for prime time yet. And so, as I say every time, if you want to check out where the company is headed and all of our our bigger ideas with working in the cloud, which is going to enable some AI stuff later, and lots of other interesting things, you can go check it out. But if you're recording mocap for a client or for a production, use Legacy because it's great and it still works fantastically. I don't know if you've played around in beta at all. It's cool, but it, yeah, still working on it. Yeah. Okay, so CG Worm. Yeah, all set up. All right, well, we'll see. It's always okay, it is working. As we were talking about, streaming is when everything goes wrong, and so
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm always worried that it's as soon as I turn on the stream, nothing is gonna work. Oh, cool, CG Worm. We got a comment on YouTube just going through the motion library and stuff. That's cool. Yeah, there's a lot of free mocap on there. Moro Motion has good dancing. Okay. Okay, so there we go. We're ready.
So,
We're gonna do a little calibration pose, and then Rog, you're gonna take it away. What are we
Right.
doing?
so let's do the mummy scene
Okay.
first.
Yeah. Right. So we got it. You have a mummy model which you made, which we'll take a look at in Blender, right? Imhotep from the mummy. And then maybe we'll take a look at a raptor too. You were saying?
Yes, the
Yeah.
raptor with a dynamic tail. So your hips drive the tail. So that is something that gets done automatically, and that's what's special about it.
Yeah, it's just happening in the background in Blender, right? The whole time. Okay. So for Imhotep, what do you think? There's some general monster things. Is he?
Yeah,
What do you
he
think?
kind of has he has his shoulders kind of pulled back, which is how he
right.
kind of walks around a little bit like that. And yeah, and he's this is the part of he kind of develops over the movie, right? So when he comes
Right.
out of that sarcophagus thing, he's still a little bit raw, and he's like woken up after a few thousand years, so he's kind of like that all the time.
And he's got the jaw, right? I think I
Right,
saw
yeah,
on your
yeah.
So that's like you
That's a separate thing.
added a bone. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's just
But that's a good. I feel like that's a good motivation for the character movement, right? He's like
yeah, yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah. And he always does that.
Oh, okay, right.
When he roars, he kind of, yeah, exactly. And all of his turns are a little bit like, huh? What was that? Kind of like like he's really massive.
Okay, right. He's got like some inertia to moving.
Right. And he does this thing like he's lifting things up or pulling massive waves out of sand or water or something
Oh,
like that. And
right,
then
right.
does
Okay,
that
okay.
thing.
Let's do he notices you and then he turns and
Right.
like roars.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. In the end, yeah, the roar could be it. That's good.
And then I like the sand pushing.
I can't quite see you. You're kind of slightly off frame.
Yeah, actually, hold on. Let me move. I can move my So on the YouTube,
Yes. Yeah.
there we go. That's better.
Or not even so much. You could have it in the corner there. Yeah, that's fine.
There we go. Oh yeah, okay. I can see what you. Yeah. And I think it's flipped on ours. Because we're using Riverside FM and it's going to YouTube, but on YouTube it's oriented correctly. I don't know.
Correct. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
which
I think this is
why-
backwards. What you're seeing. Yeah, right. This is on the wrong side. Normally it's on. Yeah, look at my cursor is
Ah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
but
right.
it's not. That's just what you're seeing. So it's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
looks fine on the thing. Hello, everyone. Again, people have been trickling in. We have Shutter Authority here, and we're about to make some free mocap, which will be downloadable, and we're gonna animate some mummies and some raptors, and then we're gonna look at Rog's workflow in Blender. Okay, so yeah, sorry, I'm just for people who are coming in. Okay, so here's a mummy. I'll try. Let's try one.
Nice, nice. That was good.
How'd that feel?
Um, yeah, maybe you can do one more where you take
Oh yeah,
one more step.
let's do a bunch more.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
cool.
yeah. Do a couple. So it's like we gotta clean this. It's always good to. I like going through this stuff raw on the stream too because I'm like, hey, this doesn't doesn't
Yeah,
it gets you
yeah,
part way.
because
You gotta do your cleanup. You
right,
know.
and that is something that the studio does really well. So,
Yeah.
um, like what seems like an issue here is probably not an issue once it's filtered.
Yeah. Okay, let's do one more step so we could like he could come out from a hallway door, down like you can
Yeah,
see him
yeah.
in a
So he can
corridor, right? Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So I have this little scene set up with a bunch of pillars and all that. So he could probably come around one of those pillars and
Yeah.
like
Perfect.
just
Yeah, yeah. That sounds good. Just comment in the chat. Yeah, it's not 1080. We're capped at 720 for the system that we use, but we're gonna re-upload this and it'll at 4K. So bear with us for the stream and then come back later for the sorry Divas. Um,
yeah.
that's where we're capped at. Okay. I'm gonna do my straight pose. We'll do one more step for Emotep. Okay, let's do it.
Nice.
I don't know about you, but I
Nice.
always feel it's easier when you're doing it alone. I always realize that I'm making the facial expressions like,
Yeah,
and
yeah, I do
then
that too.
yeah, and then I'll watch it back. I'm like, because I'll use it for behind the scene, like side by side, and then I'm like, oh, what was my face doing? Oh my god, it's good,
Yeah.
but it's
Um,
it's funny to see.
but I think it also kind of comes together with your just the actions. So
Totally,
it definitely helps. Yeah.
yeah, it does help. Um,
Yeah.
this looks good. Should I do another? He
Yeah.
feels so a little stiff. Look at this guy. I mean, we could fix some of that.
Yeah, probably the arms a little bit. So you could be, I mean, yeah, of course, he's not running, it's not going to be so much. But maybe like when he turns, you can have a little bit more, a bit of a sway.
searching,
Yeah, 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 something like that.
and then he sees you,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
that'd be nice. Yeah,
yeah. Okay, let's do one more.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
we
cool.
want that. We want it good. We want it to be good. Okay. Always do a calibration pose. Probably don't need to. Okay, let's do it. One more.
Yeah,
A little lunge
I
there
think
at the
that's
end.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
I think.
can probably like get your face really close to the camera at that point, and
Yeah, right.
that should be good.
Oh yeah. Give me a little
Yeah,
raptor. Oh, I like that one. Yeah, yeah, that's good. Right. It's probably a little bit. I liked what you were saying about how stiff he is.
hmm
How how much do you work on your like? Did you go back and rewatch The Mummy? Like, do you go and really pay attention to reference stuff when you're recording?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I
all the
I
time. Yeah.
kind of do, but I should more. I like how you were calling out very specific things about him, like his neck doesn't is you know.
Yeah, I watched it a bunch of times. And I've also been watching it, like I've watched it many times over the years because
Such a good
again,
movie.
that's a character that I really like.
Yeah.
And like, I don't even know how they did it. It looks so high poly and so detailed.
And
Like
like
all,
98 or something?
yeah,
Or
yeah, that's
97?
that is
Yeah.
insane. And they had so much simulation going on, like with all those torn muscles and
Yeah.
all that. It's crazy stuff.
Eating the bug that the
Oh
scarab that
yeah,
crawls in, so good.
so much
What
detail.
what about I don't know if this happens in the movie because I think he's
Hmm.
like standing, but we could do one where where sit up. I'm like lying
Uh-huh.
down and I sit
Yeah.
up and turn or
Uh-huh.
something.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Let's do that anyway because it's like a
Yeah.
mummy. It
Yeah.
fits with the theme. Our
Yeah.
pack of
Yeah.
mummy
Hmm.
mocap
Hmm.
things. We could do like a mummy walk too, maybe. Although
Yeah.
he's pretty intense the way that he walks.
Yeah.
He's really he like marches like you were saying. Okay, I'm gonna do a mummy awakening.
Hmm.
See how this goes. Okay, I'm going out of view. Ugh. Ugh, okay.
Oops, you sunk in.
Yeah. Rococo loves when you don't have both your feet on the ground. You know what we could do
Yeah.
actually? Well, we can.
Uh-huh.
Let's take a look at this. We turn on treadmill and it'll be fine.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, let's turn off. Actually, let's turn off treadmill and show the syncing. Can I even follow this? I can't. He's gone. But I turn on treadmill. Right. The thing I don't like. Ideally, I try not to use treadmill for stuff like this because then I just have to.
Like the
Yeah, I have to
feet are
correct for
always
the.
floating around. Yeah.
Yeah, and like when his hip. I mean, that's easy enough to.
When I do this, I usually try not. I kind of make sure my feet are obviously planted.
Yeah,
Like I kind of keep it like this
totally.
versus this,
Yeah,
and that really helps. So maybe you could try that once
yeah.
instead of with treadmill. You really have to go in and move its position back and forth to have him placed.
When you're fighting the mocap, it's harder than like hand animating would have been, and then it's so frustrating because you're like, there's all these little jitters, right, that in your body that then
Yeah.
you're like, oh my god, I got to correct all these little things. Yeah, and what I used to be really scared of mocap editing, and it is not that scary actually. It took me a long time to realize that. So now when I'll do things like we'll do this, and I'll keep my
Hmm.
feet like I think just even like, um,
Yeah.
like with my knees up, and then you just delete the animation off the knees
Yeah,
and
and that
just
gets
straighten
rid
the
of
legs.
a
It's
lot of
fine.
yeah, yeah.
Right? Yeah, it doesn't
And
matter.
also you can decimate animations in Blender. I'm sure you do your retargeting primarily in C4D or
I do it all in Maya, and then I
oh in
go to
Maya.
C4D. Yeah, or
Okay,
Unreal or whatever. But I
okay,
use Maya. I need to
okay.
learn. C4D has made a lot of strides in its retargeting, but it still is not. It's Maya and Blender, I think, are the best too. Um,
Oh, sweet. Okay.
yeah, it used
Yeah,
to
so you
be. I
can
used to think
decimate
Maya,
an
but
animation.
hmm?
Okay. You can decimate animations in Blender. So
Yeah,
that kind of gets rid of keyframes in areas where not a lot is happening.
right.
And you have control over how much effect that has, and so that really helps clean up a lot of jitter and all
Yeah.
that.
Do you use any smoothing filters in Blender? Like, do they have those? They
In
have them in Maya, and I've been using them for everything I do now, and they're great.
There are some, but there's still stuff I need to learn,
Yeah.
and
Well, there's
I'm,
always.
I'm
We're all.
yeah.
It's a learning process.
Yes, sometimes I can smoothen out in the curve in the graph editor, and it kind of helps.
Yeah.
But it's mostly decimation that does the most of the job.
Right. Yeah. Because it's the same thing. It's just getting rid of jittery stuff that you don't need. Okay, let me try this lie down again and see if I can fake it a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna try and be in view of the camera a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, now
Yeah,
you're
there we go.
it's planted really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm a mummy. Yeah, that kind of thing. Let's take a peek at it.
Yeah, this was much better. You didn't like sink in to the
Yeah.
ground or something. I think there was a moment where I think the knee kind of dipped in, but I think that is easily fixable.
Oh yeah, I think you just
I think when you use all of the filters, it automatically will solve it.
yeah, right. Cool. Okay, so let's say we got a couple of good ones. Let's do other what are other oh right, the magic, the sand and like
Ah, yeah.
yeah. You know, we could actually boot up. I know it won't work with your model, but we could boot up face capture and just do a jaw
Ah,
open thing because you in theory just building like an Imhotep pack of mocap, like you could use that to do a particle sim in like a sand
yeah.
cloud, right? Because there's that
Yeah.
when he
That, yeah, right.
although
The face shot.
you just probably do that because you just do that by hand because I can't get my jaw down to here. You know, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is not anatomically
No.
possible to do what he does. So.
Yeah, no, yeah. The actors they had on that 1998 movie, just amazing what they could do with their jaw. Okay, so like, what do you think? Like this rising.
Yeah, and then like this is when he's like angry and he's just picking up people and then he like throws them.
So should I grab a person? You think, or is it like
No. He kind of uses the force to
Right.
just lift things up.
oh, how
and
about
then,
like he could like
yeah, he could be like looking around and there he is, and he kind of does that, and yeah, or that.
I don't know. Okay, we'll try one and see what we get. I don't know.
Yeah, that's actually good.
Yeah,
I
not
think
bad,
that was a
right?
good one.
That's pretty good. These are be repurposable. Yeah, it's like it's a Jedi, it could be a dark Jedi, it could be a mummy. You
Yeah.
never know.
And we could always tweak it
Right.
to make it anything else.
Another thing that I always this one at time I didn't do it, but usually another thing I struggle when I'm recording mocap is I'll be looking at the screen the whole time. And
I know.
like and
I know that happens.
yeah, not following the action. I'm like oh right, I'm looking that way. Yeah.
We probably need a room full of mirrors, and that way we wouldn't have to
Yeah.
turn towards the screen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would
Like
actually
in
probably
in a
be
gymnasium.
good. Yeah. The
Yeah.
impulse is to look at yourself, which
Mm-mm.
it's a hard thing to fight. Okay, what? Maybe like a more pronounced magic. I could like.
Yeah. This would be him lifting up the river, and then
Okay, yeah. He could even like.
yeah. Okay, cool.
I don't know. Let's maybe not that. Okay, let's try lifting up the river.
Yeah. That was actually enough time to have that massive thing happen.
Right. Yeah, and you could just extend that out too, right?
Yeah.
Sound effects help. Sound Coaster, this is the Smart Suit Pro 2, but we're still in Legacy. So we don't have all the features enabled, but it is still. I love the Smart Suit Pro 2, but I still use my Smart Suit Pro 1 sometimes too. Okay, should we do more Mummy? What do you think? What other Mummy?
Or
Should he like? What about
what
like
more does he do?
a slapping someone out of the
Or
way?
just yeah, and he also how does he hit people?
How does I think?
Yeah,
I
he
feel like
kind of he kind of does that.
Yeah.
Like hits people in the chest and they fly away. So
yeah.
and then he also did that like holding them up and kind of what?
Oh yeah, right. Like sucking the energy
sucking
out of
them.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So-
out the life out of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So like maybe like a.
Yeah, and then he kind of shakes with all of that.
Right. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he does do that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he gets up like he's kind of reconstructed in all of that.
Right. Okay. How about like a one-handed throat grab kind of thing?
Oh yeah, he does that too. He does that. Yeah.
And then he sucks the life out of them, and then he lets them drop, and then he's.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, reconstructing his
Yeah.
flesh. Okay.
This is gonna be a full mummy pack.
I know. Yeah, we got it. Everything. It's very specific to Imhotep, but
Right.
I like that because I think everyone loves that movie. There's some like real
I
love.
mean, when you
for-
think of mummy, he's the only one.
Yeah.
That comes to
I
mind.
know Tom Cruise didn't
Not
work.
so much.
Didn't work.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try this. Throat grab. Oh no.
Nice.
Is that good?
How many hours do you have on that suit?
How many
You
what?
probably. How many hours have you been in that suit?
A lot. Yeah, I don't know. 100 probably or something. Maybe.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, I usually go in for sessions of it's like 30 or 40 minutes, a couple times a week, probably. So, yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Cool. It's amazing.
nice.
Yeah, how much just hand animation adds to.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
for
hard to
sure.
go back. Okay. Anything else Emotep related?
Mm.
Does he like?
He kind of turns into a dust storm
Okay.
by just like when he sees the cat, he just spins
Oh
around
right.
and
Oh.
kind
Oh
of
yeah.
just-
Yeah. He's like. And then
Yeah.
And then he.
yeah, and then he just
Yeah.
goes away.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that.
Okay. I like that. So he's like.
He should be he shouldn't be aware of the cat or
Right, and
whatever,
then-
and then he sees it, and then he's like,
Right.
and then he just
So
goes.
maybe
away.
he's doing like a. Kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, kind of like that. Yeah.
Okay. Let's do another calibration pose. Okay. And then he's menacingly coming towards our hero Brendan Fraser, and then he gets shown a cat. All right. Let's watch that back. I don't know. Because you just need the initial movement, right, to start that, and then you could generate a
Yeah,
bunch
yeah.
of sand particles.
Right.
Looks pretty cool. little figure
I like
skating.
yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, let's that's 8. So that's pretty good. I like to do at least 10.
Okay.
So let's do some raptor now. Let's do a little raptor
Okay,
stuff.
Yeah.
Unless there's anything
So
else
for
that
the
you want
Raptor,
to- yeah.
the important thing is that you have your back like really bent,
Right.
like right after you start, and also have your arms sticking out like that. Yeah, and also I think it would be useful to squat down a little more, like bend your knees a
Then
little bit
okay,
more.
hold on. Let me I'm gonna turn off my get this out of the way a little bit. Okay, so
Yeah, yeah, perfect. That's like the ideal rest pose for it.
and then
Yeah,
it
and
picks up head
also
movement.
raptors they move in kind of longer arcs. Um, yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Okay. Should I just try one?
yeah, that's yes.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's good. This is my gym workout for the day. Let me do this. And I'll just do kind of sniffing around, like kind of.
Mhm.
I was
And as you yeah, when you do the you calibrate it once again, right?
yeah. Should I
Okay,
calibrate?
so no, it would be useful to have your this pose in the same direction as the T pose would be.
Okay, like yeah, right, like this, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
facing
yeah, yeah,
forward.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
right, exactly. And then
Right.
you
Yeah.
start whatever, and you just. Hey, let
Yeah.
me do
And then
another.
we don't even have to rotate it. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's always. I work in Houdini sometimes with crowd stuff, and that always works on Z forward, which when
Oh.
I record walking in studio, I always walk this way so I can see myself. But then that's
Uh-huh.
a whole problem because it has to be anyway. Yeah, so that's always
Okay.
coming up. Okay, let's do. Sorry, I'm gonna do one more straight pose. Always good to calibrate. Okay, Raptor.
Yeah.
Test 01.
Yeah. Nice.
I feel like that was just okay.
It kind of felt like it would work for a bigger dinosaur like a T-Rex.
Right.
I think raptors
More whippy.
Yeah, and they move I think a little bit quicker
Okay.
also. But also, I mean, we don't want to be so quick that then we have more cleanup to do.
Right.
It's easier to speed things up later.
I feel
if
like
necessary.
are my legs too far apart too? My back should be
no, I
kind of
think-
straighter, right? It's like a real workout.
You mean
Yeah, like-
not like
Yeah.
a hunch? um, I think we could fix that quite easily. So
Okay.
um,
Let me try another one. A little bit faster, a little bit more whippy. Okay, Raptor 02. Here we go.
and maybe you can spin around once.
Okay.
Yep.
God, it's funny. It's hard.
That was good.
I feel like I
I
was.
think we could have a segment out of that.
So I guess you just have to edit the mocaps in my head. I was really looking down too much, I feel like.
I'm actually not sure which would be better because
Look at my.
in my rig it is a little bit like this, but the bone isn't exactly like this in the rest pose.
Right.
So I don't know how much that matters. In any case, we have um,
Enough.
a rig that can, yeah, we could easily change that with animation layers.
Okay, let me try one more. Is there anything that they should be doing, maybe? Like if we were to. Like just investigating?
Yeah, yeah, a little bit of yeah, looking around like that. Yeah, that looked good. The turn that you did.
Okay. So once you hit that record button, it gets tough. Okay. Okay. Maybe we'll just call it there. We can go into it and see. Yeah, I'm gonna lower my. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of head movement going on. I'm curious to see how that works.
Maybe it's too
Because
much.
the only limitation right now is that I have only one bone for the whole neck. And with the Mixamo add-on, I haven't found a way to add two bones because if I subdivide this bone and make it two bones, when I convert it to a control rig, it kind of just disregards the whole
Huh.
thing.
Weird.
That is something I have to figure out.
Okay. Well, let's edit this, and I'm gonna Okay. Let's go through and. Let's start with some Imhotep, and maybe we can just, as like because I just love to see how you set up the whole Mixamo add-on and the whole thing that you have going. Should we just do like
it's
one
quite
of these?
interesting. Which one is that?
This is,
eight.
I think this is the, okay, right, yeah. So this is the pillar one.
Okay, yeah, we I think that's probably the one that would work best for that scene. Um,
I definitely want to see
Yeah.
that jaw open. That's really what I want to see.
yeah, and I also like at first I was just moving it. I mean, as in rotating
Right.
it. But then I just thought it's so much nicer to have it completely like dislocate and just drop down all the way.
Yeah. Yeah, not actually move the bone and not just rotate the bone.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can get some
yeah.
really creepy distortions from that sort of thing. Okay, so I'm just doing some
Right.
basic editing. Cannot state enough how important editing your mocap in Rococo Studio is if you want better results. Sometimes it doesn't help that much, and sometimes it makes such a difference that it's two completely different takes.
Yeah.
Yeah, using knee pop smoothing for this as well. So we'll see how this looks. Oh my golly. Hold on, that does not look good. What is happening there? Okay, this is just I need to move this back.
Is the filter applied yet?
Yeah. I think maybe I'll turn off FootIK for this. Whoa, 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 what is going on here? This is very bizarre. Hold on. Huh.
I think if we bring down the pelvis a little
Right.
bit, it should
It'll just
probably
fix that,
it.
which is the nice thing about editing is,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, this actually, I think this
Yeah.
looks pretty good, right? Regardless, I think it's good enough. I'll go in and I usually clean it up before I make it available. Yeah. Yeah. And then just cut to black. Okay, let's rename this Imhotep. I'm not sure how his name is spelled.
And do you always export sequences, or do you just do the whole thing?
I. You mean like, do I always export? I always export just like,
The full
yeah,
take?
yeah, yeah. Oh, I always do the full take, but I don't have to.
Okay.
Should we cut it down? I never use the in and outs.
I generally do
It just
because
saves a little time.
yeah, and it's also like fewer keyframes is easier
Right.
to just deal with.
Okay, how about that?
But in this case, I don't think there was much more extra.
Yeah, but still, it's a good functionality to show. I never really show that functionality because I'm just lazy. Okay, so I'm going to export this. How do you want it? Use an FBX? Do you use a BVH?
FBX
FBX.
would be good. And also, what frame rate are you at?
So this is at 100, but I
100?
can change it down to
Yeah, I think we should just do
24.
24
Okay,
or
perfect.
24. Yeah, fewer keyframes,
Right.
the better.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The cleaner. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to send this over to
Okay.
you on Discord. And
Mhm.
thanks, X64. Comment about how somebody likes seeing our problem solving in real time. I think that's what I like seeing about these things
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
You right? It's like great to see.
Because
yeah,
I mean, you run into problems all the time, and instead of having to like personally figure it out, it's nice to see someone else deal with it and then kind of have an insight.
what I always hate
away.
about some tutorials, you know,
Oh, is everything is so perfect?
they choose the most perfect thing possible for right, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
that's great for you, but that's not gonna, I need the worst possible thing. That's what I need you to show me.
That's true.
Okay, I'm going to
Okay.
turn off my video, and I'm just gonna jump out of my suit really quick.
Okay. Cool.
But I sent you the thing on Discord, so I think you can start screen
Yeah.
sharing.
Yeah.
Hold on, and this is always.
In a minute, I'll just copy
Did I
the
turn
file.
off? Oh, right, I turned it off. Okay, and I'm not on camera, right? I
No.
Yeah, I always do it in either shorts or just my skivvies, my boxers, or that's how I do it. You can put the suit on over clothes, but I don't find that to be very comfortable.
Yo,
Yeah.
no, especially not here in India. It
Yeah,
gets too
super hot, I
so
bet.
I wouldn't. Yeah.
Yeah. I just washed my suit recently. I was very proud of myself.
Oh. Cool. So you take everything, all of the sensors
Mhm.
off, and
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. How hard is it?
It's really easy. It's I always think it's going to be slightly more easy than it is. It's not difficult at all. It's that it's the Velcro. If you do it on like a carpet, the Velcro on the straps will like stick to the carpet sometimes.
Oh,
So-
right.
Depending on where you are, it can be. I mean, it's easy, but it just takes. You're like pulling the. It's a little frustrating to get the Velcro. Okay, hold on. I'm just gonna lower down my camera. Gotta put my beanie on again. Gotta have that beanie. Otherwise, what's the point? This whole thing. Fashion first. Okay. Yeah.
Cool. That was quick.
Yeah. It's quick.
Master. I mean,
I
you
do it a
all the
lot.
time.
I always Jacob in the early days, the CEO of Rococo, he because I've been there for a long time, and he does still get in the suit, but he used to get in the suit all the time, and he was showing me how he would get in the suit, and because I bought a suit as a customer, and he like would rip it on and off, and I was like, oh my god, Then he watched me do it. He's like, "You're doing it so slow." I was like, "Well, it was an investment. It's like I gotta protect. I'm like a little ginger, be careful with it." Okay. So again, everyone, the stream quality probably isn't too fantastic. We are going to re-upload this in 4K, where you'll be able to see all of Raghav's like settings better. Hopefully, you can see them good. But Raghav, if you could like talk through what you're doing, and I mean, first of all, so you were telling me beforehand, this is not ZBrush, which I would assume it is. Yeah. So maybe you can just talk about how you made this character, which is crazy to me.
Yeah. Okay, so this was made entirely in Blender, and let me just shut off everything else so we can just see the character.
Oh, wow, yeah, look at that.
It's not even very high poly. It's only about 56,000 faces, and a lot of that is coming from the head itself, because that's the one that I put more detail into. And but initially when I sculpted it, it was about, I think, 6 million faces just for the head, which I then baked down onto all of the textures, the normals, the roughness, and a cavity map, more important than most other things. And then I also have some internal organs inside, like the brain and a bunch of wires and ligaments or whatever. I have no clue about the anatomy, but just based on reference.
CG artists are experts in weird things. I don't know what this is, but it looks like the inside of a head, I guess. Some wires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then for the body, it's actually just a make human mesh, which I didn't even mess with the topology. I just kind of moved it around and reshaped it to be a little bit more like the reference of the mummy. And then all of that, all of the holes and stuff, they're actually coming from the textures. It's basically, let me go into the shading tab so we can see what's going on a little bit better.
And so it's just opacity maps on, right.
Yeah, it's basically that. It's just an alpha that I just painted over that thing with a brush with a noise, with an alpha noise. So if I removed the alpha, it's basically this thing, which looks which doesn't look
it's
that
amazing what that adds. It's incredible. I mean, it just
and this I think was just something that I painted manually, but the normal map is actually coming from some wood texture that I found on CCO textures or something like that, and I've just
so
arranged the UVs in a way that I have like these are kind of like bandages, like how he's bound. So around the arms, it's going to be going like this,
right?
And
so you just rotate.
Everywhere else, it's just rotate the UVs and have them be the way you want them to be. And then the alpha is basically like if I just plug that into the base color to see what
smart.
that is
Okay.
like. It's basically this.
And so you can paint on the model these alpha textures. God, yeah, I just need to learn Blender.
Right. And with a brush that has, you have a hard time doing that in Maya or?
Well, Maya,
C4D?
everything's hard. Cinema, I think it's actually pretty easy in Cinema too. You just use a UV paintbrush.
Okay.
I just don't know how to do it because I'm a generalist to the nth degree where I just know nothing except what I decide to learn.
In Blender, it's really easy. Texture painting is super
and you just have a different paintbrush, right? That's like giving you the noisy.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about it. So when I plug that into the alpha, it makes all of these holes. It's as simple as that. And then I have the base color, which puts in all of that discoloration, and we have that. Now, the insides is it's basically
So is that like a displaced different alpha kind
It's
of thing?
basically the same. No, it's the same mesh, and I don't think this has an alpha. What I've done is I've just gone ahead and deleted a bunch of faces randomly, and then so it's basically like this. It's just a bunch of holes, and that I'm just adding a solidify modifier to give it a little bit of thickness.
Right.
So that makes it, I mean, this looks kind of really impossible to sculpt if you were to do this manually. But the head itself was entirely like just manually
Right.
sculpted. But that's fine. But you wouldn't want to do the whole thing
Yeah.
like that unless you were going to have a close up of
Maybe
all
like
of
an
that.
exposed finger
And-
coming out of a hand. Maybe you'd go in and do the
yeah,
flesh or
that's
something
about
like
it. Yeah. So what happened? Did I hide the body or did I just isolate it?
Oh, and this is when things start to go wrong.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There it is. Now it's back. Thankfully, didn't take too long. Yeah, and I also ate up stuff here, and so that we kind of see the forearm bone kind of a little bit better with all of the holes. So that is it. And then I ran that through Mixamo, and that gave me a pretty simple an armature that was just straightforward Mixamo armature. And then all I did was extrude another bone from here and parented it to this bone. So when I move the head, the jaw moves.
And how did you? Can you go through the? I think weight painting is something that people find incredibly.
Yeah, that is a little bit
Intimidating, which I do.
That's true. Yeah, so we basically select.
And by weight painting, for people who might not even know, so what I mean is, Rob, you've added a bone for the jaw, but you need to parent it to the mesh of only the jaw, which is. I use weight painting automatic weights if I ever use it in whatever program. But this is like you've got to go in, you've got to make sure that the jaw is isolated to that bone, right? And sorry, that's just for me. Some people, it's still such a niche thing. All of this retargeting and rigging is, just trying to give context. But yeah, okay, sorry.
Right. So we select the armature and select the geometry, and here you just go into weight paint. And here, whatever is red is hot, and whatever is green or blue is has no influence on that. So if I move it, it kind of, I mean, it's pretty easy to understand when you see it like this in color, and so you just choose I'm not going to mess it up.
Please
now,
don't.
Because it is a little bit of a pain. But yeah, you just choose what strength you want. That is the brush, and then you kind of go in and paint that out. So it's surprisingly not glitchy at all in Blender. With Max, I used to have quite a bit of trouble. But it's a lot easier. And I wanted to have these little these tubes that are going up the jaw, the mouth. Yeah. I wanted to have a gradient there so that kind of stretches, and it just doesn't happen. I wanted that stretching to happen over this much area and not just in one point. So yeah, I've just
do you just
done that.
You kind of just start at like 5%. You start at the top and you just do a little bit, right? And then you just increase the strength as you go down into the main jaw, right? Yeah,
that's it. And then also I use the blur brush, so which you can. There's no risk doing that, and with that it kind of automatically smoothens it out. There's also smear and other things that can be useful at times. But yeah, that's pretty much it for weight painting. Everything else was automatic, but on some of my other characters I have to really go in and do it manually. And for the teeth,
I was wondering about that.
It's a separate object. I don't remember. This was a rig that I did quite a while back. I think I've just parented that
to the
bone
jawbone,
itself.
right? The lower
Yeah,
teeth,
yeah,
and then
that's
the
it.
upper teeth are probably parented to the
Yeah,
head, right? Because upper teeth never
to the head.
never
That's
move.
about it.
Yeah, it's only which is always a
Yeah.
trip when I first realized that, because you start animating mouths and you're like, you're like both sides are moving, and then you realize that's not how a mouth works. It's only the
Yeah,
jawbone
this
moves.
just sticks
Yeah,
with the
right. The
head.
upper jaw doesn't move.
Yeah,
Yeah, the upper
yeah.
mandible.
Move at all. There's no upper
I think it's a
jaw.
mandible.
As in, yeah, it's just
CG random. Maybe that's wrong, but I think it is a mandible.
yeah.
This looks so good.
Yeah,
It's so.
so-
This is like, it's just such a.
And
Yeah,
I
sorry,
think
excuse me.
in I have a different lighting of the same model.
Oh
Looks a
yeah,
little
yeah.
bit
Because I
better.
bet when you get that light, it just coming through, and it just looks.
Yeah, one sec.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it looks a little bit better
Gross
here.
and meaty and it's so good.
Yeah, and all of this was just quickly texture painted right inside of Blender, which is I mean I still am so thrilled about the fact that we can make stuff like that in a relatively short amount of time.
I knew that this
Okay.
office hours was gonna be dangerous for me, because now I'm just like, Blender. Blender's.
You wanna give that a shot.
Blender's the best. Oh, do everything.
It's for sure one of the easier programs
Yeah.
that allows you to do a lot of stuff.
I mean, this is the reason I love all of this so much is it's such a I don't know how long this took you. I mean, probably long-ish, but like compared to, look at that. I mean, it just looks amazing. I mean, this looks, I would say, as good as like the movie, which was made in '97 or whatever. But still,
Yeah, no,
It's
no,
just
no.
incredible.
I think that looks a lot better, but I think this still
it looks really good,
enough.
and it just took you. It's such an efficient way
Yeah.
to do it, and yeah, so I just love
Yeah.
this sort of thing.
Yeah, I also have some
Yeah.
eyeballs which I've sort of painted in. I don't even remember if I just used the Make Human eyeball and kind of painted
Right.
over that thing. And this is Eevee, by the way. It's
Real time.
in real time. And this little temple scene was just a camera projection that I did based off of one picture, and used another picture for the pillars, and all of the stretchy patterns I've kind of hid with these
Right.
pillars.
That's-
That's kind of it, because I didn't even probably. It took me like half an hour to.
So
put
is
this
this just
together
like a
and just
image
threw in-
plane from texture or whatever thing, and then you just
No. This was actually like project
okay,
from view.
okay,
So I just line up
right,
the camera
with the floor and with the walls
get-
or whatever, and
yeah, and then just extrude the box around to get that shape, and then just one click project from view, and then throw in some pillars, and with some lighting, it's done. So
it looks so good.
yeah, there's one light here which what does that light do? Yeah, that's kind of the
Yeah.
top.
Gives you that nice
Light.
contrast of the rest of the
And-
body, right?
Yeah, and there's one light back there, around there, and what else do we have? There's one light
Hmm.
here, and I have animated. I've put a noise modifier
Yeah.
on the intensity, like, because we're not going to be looking at the
But the
light
floor-
source, and we'll be looking here.
Yeah.
There's just a little bit of intensity variation, like it's
Yeah.
fire. And what else? I have two more lights. Yeah, this would probably be a little
Yeah.
more creepy, I think. Oh, oops. Where? Right. Yeah, but yeah, we're not also going to be able to see
Yeah,
much of
right.
it. So I thought we could have
Yeah.
an option, turn it off
Yeah.
if necessary. Yeah, cool. Now shall
Yes,
we get into the retargeting
please.
bit?
I'm so, and you
Okay, cool.
explained part of what you've done here, but like it would be awesome to go through it from from scratch, right? Because you are using a different. I mean, I normally recommend AutoRig Pro or whatever, or our Rococo plugin, but now I think AutoRig Pro is really the way to do
No,
it.
I still use the Rococo plugin.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I
So
do.
the
I still have to retarget
oh,
it.
it's the
Yeah.
but then you transfer the Mixamo skeleton to the Mixamo
Yeah.
control rig, and that's
Control
okay. So
rig.
you're not using the Mixamo add-on to do retargeting.
It doesn't
Okay.
retarget.
Okay.
It just transfers animations. The good thing is we have an IK control rig, which otherwise in Blender was a bit of a
Right.
pain to set up. Maybe not a pain in
No,
Maya.
it's
I'm not
super easy in
sure.
Maya. That's why I love it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's like built for it.
Yeah, the same in 3ds Max with Cat. Once you get all of that import sorted, the IK thing is really clean, but it wasn't a very easy way to do that in Blender until this Mixamo add-on. So let's go ahead and bring in the Imhotep
Vania in the
thing,
chat,
automatic bone.
our head of content and community.
Ah, hi Vania.
Thanks for joining. It's late. Thank you. I mean, yeah, it's late for you, Rog. That's the real. But thank you for doing this because I'm
No.
so excited for this bit right here.
Cool. So yeah, we have okay. He came in quite small. I think my model is really off scale. For some reason, I didn't do it in real world scale for this one. Something happened during. I think when you put it through Mixamo and bring it back, it came back
Yeah.
really big, or
Right.
something like that happened. In any case, for this specific project, I don't think it matters because auto scale
Right.
should
Yeah.
do the job. So, okay, I'm gonna rename this to Rococo.
And just to recap, we have this is a
And-
model rigged on Mixamo, auto rigged, that you sculpted, then rigged on Mixamo. Then you've brought in the Rococo mocap we just recorded, and they're both in T pose on frame 0, and right, and then now you're organizing. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So this thing is the same armature of the Mummy's rig, but it has been. I mean, I just kept a copy
Okay,
aside.
right.
So it's basically the same thing, but it's nothing is parented to it. It's just an intermediate armature that I use for
Right.
retargeting.
But I imagine it's named exactly the same as your Mixamo rig. It's like a copy, right, of the rig
No.
that's in the Mummy.
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
in the Mummy.
It is a
right. So
copy.
but it's gonna talk to the
Right.
Mummy because it's the same. Yeah, right. It's
Right.
the same skeleton.
It's the
yeah.
same thing. Yeah. So now the source is Rococo 2 because I already have a previous animation that I tested with. And yeah, the target is the retarget armature. That is this one. And I'm going to hit build bone list. And we're going to leave auto scale on. And I think I'll just do current pose because I'm not exactly sure if it was an A pose
Right.
or not, if the rest pose. And I mean, if it was, then I could
Yeah,
use
that's
the
what I always do
Cats
too.
plugin
Yeah.
based on,
Yeah.
yeah. In this case, it doesn't really matter. So I'm just gonna leave that to current and auto scale turned on and retarget.
So this is the Rococo plugin that anyone can grab, and you don't have to use it for Rococo mocap. It can be used for any mocap retargeting. It's just, I mean, all retargeting is just copying values from
Yeah.
one bone to another. Okay, interesting. Okay, cool. So yeah.
So okay, this was my previous animation that I did. And then he goes down,
Ooh.
sits down like that.
That looks great.
Anyway, let's hide that and look at only what we have right now. Okay, the
Oh, it didn't come
retargeting
through.
was pretty good.
Weird. It didn't
This
do
one.
my in and out points. I don't know why. Oh, I didn't do a segment. That's why I just set.
Oh yeah, you did.
Anyway,
Yeah.
So that's the whole.
So we have this. There is a little bit of up and down movement happening on the foot, which I still kind of haven't figured out.
Yeah.
At what? I think it's something to do with the pelvis height in comparison to the point of the thigh bone. And there is a little bit of shift there, and that kind of puts us in this. It's not a constant factor that it is above or below. It kind of goes in and out, and for that, the only current solution is to have a control rig which is IK based, so we can manually go and fix it if
Right.
necessary. I have played with using different scale for the armature and kind of helps sometimes, but it is still
I think
something that I'm
Yeah,
hoping we can
absolutely. This
solve.
is like one of the things that hopefully beta will be able to. I mean, the idea with beta is eventually that you'll be doing your retargeting in studio, and so hopefully that'll all be taken care of. But
Nice.
I think what it is maybe it's like the auto scale doesn't do it perfectly, and so it's the difference in the bone lengths is yeah, I don't know how to fix that either, but it's something we should
Yeah,
put more
but
effort
I
towards.
just wish because in the source data,
Right,
the foot is
right.
really solid. It does not
It's
go
the
in at all.
retargeted.
It
Yeah.
always, yeah. But here, when you're looking at this, there is a little bit of up and down, but it's not that much
Yeah.
here, and would totally work. So now let us go ahead and transfer that over
Yeah.
to Mr. Imhotep. Before that, I also wanted to show the process of changing this Mixamo rig into a control rig, which is, I mean, it's one
And this
click.
is the Mixamo
So
add-on you were talking about. So this is an
add-on,
add-on,
yeah,
right? And it
it's a free add-on that is available on, I think, you
on
just
the
have to
Blender
Google
marketplace. Type in
Mixamo
Mixamo,
Blender
right? Yeah.
add-on. Yeah,
And so what this is going to do
yeah,
is you need to have a skeleton from Mixamo, right? And it will take a skeleton
mm,
from Mixamo
yeah.
and it will add a control rig to it. Okay,
A control
right.
rig. Yeah, yeah. And I prefer to not have IK arms because then it comes with the controllers for the elbow, like the
The
pole
twisty ones.
controllers.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's just one more thing to take care
You don't
of,
need to.
and I don't need that. So I'm just gonna go with IK legs because pelvis is the most important thing. And so what we have here is a working IK rig with one click, and everything else
Oh, awesome.
is FK as we would want. So, yeah, now it's just one more step where we pick this retargeted
Right.
skeleton. Maybe I should get out of pose mode. Yeah. Yeah. And then I just apply the animation to control rig and
So the idea behind, and just to, I think I'm following this, but just to make sure everyone else is, if you were say working with Mixamo, a Mixamo animation you downloaded, you would download that animation, you would take your Mixamo character, you do what you just did, create a control rig, and then you just hit retarget the Mixamo animation you downloaded to the control rig, and it would all work, right? And so
yeah,
because you're using Rococo mocap, what you've done is you have this intermediary skeleton, Mixamo skeleton on the left. So basically you're retargeting the Rococo mocap to a Mixamo skeleton to kind of fake a Mixamo mocap download animation,
animation.
right? And then
Right.
from that point you have the same thing you would get from Mixamo, and then you just transfer that to the Mixamo control rig. But that's why there's that intermediary skeleton. You can't just go Rococo mocap to Mixamo unless we fix that stupid Mixamo skeleton we have, which
I'm not
yeah,
sure if that would work, but if we
yeah.
can get that to work,
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
it goes on the list. Anyway, so hopefully that's like clear to
Okay.
everyone. Good afternoon, Naimarek. Yeah, this is a very interesting workflow that allows you to have a control rig, which is really changes the game in terms of
Yeah.
editing, which is always so great. And you just hit one click and it transferred
Right.
it, and now the animation is on your control rig. It's not. So are the bones keyframed at this point, or no? Okay, the
Yeah,
bones.
yeah, there are keyframes. I mean, the other armature is it has been converted into this thing.
Okay. But are there even
Yeah,
bones
the
in this
previous
model
one.
anymore?
Yeah, these are bones. They
Okay.
just appear to
Okay.
be
Okay.
controllers.
Cool.
Yeah. So now I
This
could
looks great, by the way, already. It looks,
like
yeah,
yeah, I mean I could move that down and
and fix
one
some of
sec,
the
I
knee
think I need to
popping
set a keyframe for
that happens when the leg straightens
yeah,
out, right? Yeah.
yeah. And for that I use the animation layers
Yes.
add-on because without it you would have to go into the NLA editor and do all that extra
Yes.
work.
Oh God, I gotta
Instead
do
of
a
that,
tutorial for that.
just
Yeah,
turn
this
it
is
on
great.
and one click, and then you turn on auto key and bring that down
Oh,
and or bring that up, whatever, and it just I don't think we need to do that
yeah,
so much,
tiny
maybe a
bit.
little bit.
Yeah, and it just gets
Yeah,
rid of that because it's that last
yeah,
tiny extension of the
yeah,
leg that makes it a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
pop,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
And we have that, and here we could go in and maybe switch to
yes.
local.
Show
At
us
what
the
point
jaw.
does he
Right there, baby.
hears somewhere? Yeah. So we can go
Oh, I
in
cannot wait to
here.
see this. This is so great.
Um, let's set a keyframe and few frames ahead, and maybe it's better to be
Oh yeah,
in
just go
global.
straight. Oh,
And also we could
yeah.
rotate it.
Do a little.
Okay, we should. Yeah,
Oh my God, it's so great.
yeah,
Oh, it's horrifying.
yeah, and we can have it hold for a
Yeah.
few frames, and we could shift D that thing, and maybe change it up
Right, just a
little
little.
bit. Just I don't know, maybe
Yeah, right.
slight. He
Yeah,
also does
yeah.
that, yeah. Just so that it's not like frozen at that point, and then we shift D the previous one, so he brings his
Right.
jaw back to where it was before,
What is Shift B
and
in the Blender?
shift
But
D.
what is it?
Shift
It's
D.
just copying the keyframe. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
that's it.
use
Shift D
industry
is
compatible hot
duplicates.
keys on Blender, which screws me up on so many
Ah.
tutorials. I need to
Okay.
just learn the Blender
Yeah.
ones, but it's
Yeah, Blender is kind of
Yeah,
hotkey based.
I know.
But I think that way it's easier to follow
Yeah.
any tutorial because
Shift A. There's so many like it's always doing things that I
Yeah,
am like that's not working.
there's a few. I think there are some 10 or 20
Yeah,
important ones,
right.
and that's about it. Yeah, cool. So we have the
So-
animation.
So do you
done.
normally
Let's
do your
let's play
animation
through.
in a separate? Because this is not in. This is not with the temple. Or oh, you just turned off the temple. Okay, so
Yeah, I
you
just
do
turned it
all
off.
of it. You'll
It's
do
right
it.
here.
You won't like I will because I work in Maya. I do all the retargeting in a separate project file, right? And then I bring it into my environment. But you can just do it all together. And
I could, but a lot of times I also prepare. Like if I'm making a full short film and there are lots of things to keep track of, I wouldn't
Right.
want all of that to come into one project and become very cluttered. So I would retarget and take care of all of that in one project and then append all of the actions into this.
and because of the way
treat it that
Blender
way.
works, right? You're not. It's referencing that other. Yeah, project. So you have
Yeah.
shot 05
Yeah.
and then you append it into your whatever scene and then it just yeah, it's very efficient.
Exactly. So yeah, here's the animation.
Oh, it looks so good. That's awesome.
Of course, I think the jaw retraction is a little bit delayed. I think
Yeah.
we should make that sooner. He can't hold it that long.
It looks so or we know what we could do is like you do it like
Also,
you
yeah.
take the what I'll do is like so you go like a quarter of the way between the coming back and you like add a keyframe and then drag it out
Yeah.
so it snaps back at the end maybe.
Ah, yeah. Okay, we'll do that. And also, I think we could have his head move a little bit as he's bringing it back because the
Right.
fact that his jaw is coming back up and his
Right.
head is not moving kind of makes
Totally.
it look a bit odd. But now it's like when he brings that, so we bring it a little sooner.
Yeah. 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 Oh, it's so good. And so what is so someone was asking is the animation layer add-on free? I don't know if it's not, but
It's
it is
not.
one of those ones
It's
that is
not.
like worth it.
It's it's I think like
Yeah, a lot of the
$20 or
the
it's
essential
not,
ones.
it's
Yeah.
definitely worth
Because you
it.
can use it on a million. It's not just for mocap, although mocap
Yeah.
is great. It's like Yeah.
And recently they have released a bunch of new cleanup features where you could actually I mean I personally haven't played with the version 2 the new features in version 2 as well, but apparently you could clean up animations for different bones with just a few clicks. It kind of you should watch the video.
Yeah,
It's definitely something
it's a good
I
one.
would highly recommend.
Anthony Ray is asking, with all this work on a Mac Mini, I don't know. Mac Mini, that's one of the older ones, I think. It's relatively light, Blender, right? I mean, it's yeah.
Yeah, Blender is light for sure. It's like 500
Yeah, I think it
megabytes.
probably would.
Oh,
I
so
tend to. Do you work on a Mac or are you on a PC? Yeah, me too.
I'm on
I
a PC. I've always been
yeah,
on.
I think
Yeah.
everything,
But I'm pretty sure the animation and all of that would work.
the lighting,
I think.
cycles.
Yeah. That'd be the only hurdle
Yeah.
for an older Mac, because I think the newer ones, Cycles also supports AMD
Right.
as far as I
Yeah.
know. So, yeah, could give it a shot as long as your models are not too heavy.
Yeah.
It should just work. Like something like this. This isn't very
No,
heavy.
I mean again, yeah, 50,000
It's
polys
like,
or whatever,
yeah,
and then like
it's
5 polys for the
it's not much at
background.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about
Yeah.
it.
Oh man, this looks so
Yeah.
good.
And yeah, of course, we can't play this in. I mean, it
Right.
doesn't play in real time. But if I were to render this, I have a little bit of
Oh.
depth of field as well. Let's just render one frame and see what that looks like.
And do you use Eevee for all your
Okay,
rendering? Yeah,
Not
Switch.
necessarily. If it's live action, it's almost always Cycles. But if it is fully CG and if it is an indoor thing, I prefer to use Eevee because the difference is not that much.
You're saving days of time.
And
Yeah.
yeah, like our recent the Spider-Man short film was
Wow, that's
entirely Eevee.
amazing.
All of that chase scene, the streets, all of that was 100% Eevee, and I was getting like 3 seconds per frame on that, versus in Cycles it was something like 35
Yeah.
on my 3090, and it's like more than 10 times faster and looks almost
Yeah, and 3 months into
compatible.
the project,
So,
you're like,
it's
let me, please, dear God,
yeah.
finish this.
I'm just gonna Right. I'm just gonna save a new file. And now, yeah, we just need to pick our camera position and maybe have a
Yeah,
little bit
totally.
of camera shake and
Yeah.
render it out. Yeah, that's about it.
Such a fantastic workflow. I really.
And I also had a cloth simulation happening on all
Right.
of that bandage stuff. But it was set up for the previous armature,
Right.
not the Mixamo one. So I just turned it off for now because
It's gonna
if
be
I
on the
turn
wrong
it
spots or whatever,
yeah. No, they're just
Right.
floating around here. But I do have a render
Yeah,
that I
please. That
can
would be
show
great. I
you.
mean, I think that's like one of the
One
great
sec.
tricks as well to making, like, it's all everything I'm trying to do is always hacky in some sense. It's like you're trying to get the best quality with the least amount of investment. I don't want to go into Houdini and do a vellum simulation, like, where instead I can just add
Yeah.
a plane that is a cloth and with an opacity map
Yeah.
that is giving threads. Yeah, and
To
it's
tear it
like,
up?
and it looks, and it
Yeah.
adds so, there's only so much detail
Yeah.
like the human mind can recognize.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so if
Perceive.
you cross
Yeah.
that threshold of enough things flapping, it just like looks real, and it just looks so, it adds so much to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So this was a test render
Yeah.
that I did with the cloth. I don't know how much
No,
one
I
can
tell-
see on
yeah, well,
YouTube.
on the re-upload, you'll definitely be able to see it. It's just,
Okay. And this was a fairly low res 720p render, but you can see that the cloth is moving around quite nice.
it looks so good.
Yeah.
just being able to see through the model.
And with
Sorry.
cycles, yeah, and with cycles, it kind of makes the insides darker than
Right.
it does in Eevee because it's just
Yeah.
true ray tracing, and that helps
Yeah.
make it look nicer.
You get those little bits of highlights you'll see.
Yeah, and this was with almost zero cleanup, apart from what I did in Studio. Of course, his
Yeah, it
hand
goes.
sort
Yeah.
of clips through his. Yeah, but it's still not that bad. It was just one moment. I could have just removed those keyframes, and because it
Yeah.
kind of sticks here, and here, so that wouldn't have
Right.
been a
Yeah.
big
You
deal
just remove the
to
keyframes
solve
of the
if I
arm at that
wanted to.
point, and then just have it drift over to the new position. Yeah.
Yeah, one more thing that I've noticed is very often when I'm retargeting, Mixamo skeletons come out like this, where the hands are like
Right.
fully flat. Like from the side view, it looks like this, and a lot of the data
Right.
comes like this. So what happens is when you retarget this onto that, it kind
Right.
of
Yeah. Because it's
does
already.
that, and then you have a thumb that is kind of
Yeah.
overextended, and that's kind of I don't know if that is happening here a little bit, but that is something I generally watch out for here. You see that it is kind of it's
Right.
gone like that.
Does the
But
Mixamo control
yeah,
rig
those are fun
add-on
things to
have
keep in mind.
finger IK or FK? Does it have finger controls? Yeah, so
Yeah,
I get
it
this
is.
all the
It
time
does.
because for as you're saying, Rococo mocap, you need the T pose to be with the thumb flat. So if the character's thumb is here, it's gonna adjust. Right,
Yeah,
it's gonna
it's
look
gonna
very, or yeah, it'll go further that way or whatever. And I always
yeah.
run into that, and I just end up fixing it in post. I end up now because it's so easy to do the editing.
Yeah.
I find that I just go in after I add one keyframe and I fix it wherever it's. But there's probably a better way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, since we can just switch to individual origins, and that way we
Oh wow.
could
Yeah. So it's got full controls at every knuckle. Oh wow. Because in Maya you'll get one.
at
You'll
every
get one
joint.
at the end, and then you have to use that to IK.
Oh, that does
well, because
the
it's
whole
only
thing?
it's only IK, it's not FK. I guess is probably why. Yeah, so
Oh.
it's good and bad because
Oh,
you
okay.
don't have as. I think this is better actually because
Okay.
you end up with weird stuff in the way that I do it in Maya at least. That looks
Yeah.
great. Oh, because you have all three selected, so
it's,
it's doing all three. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also happening on
Uh-huh.
the individual origins. If I switch that to the bounding box center, it handles it a little bit different. Now it just does it
Interesting.
like that, because what's happening is like the three selections, it's looking at the center of the whole thing, of the whole bounding box of the selection itself, and it's pivoting around. I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
It's just using the first bounding box or something.
Yeah, but whatever this
Yeah.
happens, that is something I do know.
That's great. That's so easy. I mean, because you could also
yeah.
select all of them, right? And then do like you could
Yeah.
fist pretty easily or
Yeah,
add a
yeah.
slight noise.
Yeah, and also we could easily set up a pose library and also like just set up a few different poses. If we wanted to override any of the capture
Right.
data that we already had. Cool. Shall we
Yes,
switch
yeah. Let's
to
do a little
the
Velociraptor
raptor then?
walkthrough, and then we'll let you go. You're
Okay.
being very generous with your time.
Ah, you still
Oh
have to
right,
send
yeah,
me
yeah.
the
Okay,
file
let me
for that.
let me do that. Let me look at that. Hold on.
Yeah, and I'll just open up the project and
I need to get myself in there. Okay, Raptor. I think it's like. Well, that looks. I feel like this leg is like not raptory, like the way that ankle moves. I mean, I don't know. I think it's all gonna be.
Yeah, no, the ankles anyway, they're like well above the ground for the raptor. That is one thing that is like strikingly different compared to a humanoid armature. So that definitely needs to be rotated in
Okay, let's do a
post.
segment this time. So I'm holding down shift.
Yeah. Oh, but make sure to get the
Oh,
this pose.
right, forward. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
So like this right here.
Uh, and when both your feet are in the same, yeah. Before you start turning around.
It's like
Yeah, I
not
think about there.
quite
Yeah.
forward, unfortunately. You can rotate it
I know.
a little bit.
I know. We could, yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, that's good enough.
Okay, let's use this one and we'll see how. I don't know. It might not be the best one, but I like the little.
Mm.
I don't know if that'll translate well, but we'll see. Okay, here. Okay, so this is how you do in and out points for your mocap. Is you can hold down shift and create these segments, and then you can export this segment. Okay, let me rename.
Have you already used
Oh
the
no, I
filters
haven't
on it?
actually. Hold on. Yeah, Raptor.
Okay.
Take 3. Raptor take 3. Let's throw on drift fix. Let's throw on foot IK. Okay, so this is drift fix, so we can just make sure that
Do you always make sure to get back
I
to the
do
same
if
point
I'm
where,
I
like,
do if I'm
how
doing
do
it
you
in
do
my
that?
office because I know that I'm starting and stopping it at the same location. I think it I will do it if I move around a lot. So if I'm doing a take where I'm standing still, I'm like dancing in place or something, I won't bother because it's not gonna matter. If I'm running or skipping or dodging, I will do it because that's when you start seeing more drift. Is when you start doing more movement or whatever. Um, okay, so that's the
Right.
start. The head is kind of off, but yeah, the foot IK looks good. That all looks great, I think.
I think that would be an interesting test to see if it handles all of that.
Just do my quick cleanup here. Okay, let's go. Let's go. So yeah, it might be like not the whole take is gonna be good. I do want to see the hop. I mean, yeah, the
Yeah.
ones that you've done, just that raptor looks. I guess your raptor acting is just absolutely fantastic because the raptor looks very raptory, which I'm realizing
Raptory.
is very difficult. So human IK again. Okay, human IK.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
at
that's right.
24.
Human IK, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna
Right.
throw this on the Discord. Hold on,
Okay.
let me make myself big again. Boop. Open folder. Okay. Sent. 1.49
Yes, I
megabytes.
received it.
Always nice when it's not a crazy amount.
Yeah. I mean, these files are always, I mean, it's just what location of different
Right.
bones, right? So, which is probably
Yeah.
why it's so small.
Yeah,
all
it's
the time.
just rotational data or whatever. It's not. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's bring in the.
Another model that you did yourself, right?
Yeah.
Looks so freaking good.
This. Yeah, I mean, my newer models, I can see how
Right.
they've improved, especially around the mouth and
But,
all that.
I mean, This looks
it-
so good.
From far enough, it looks.
If you add a little
it
motion
looks
blur and
good
like this
enough,
is
I
like a
think.
real raptor. I mean, at that point, it looks great.
Thank you.
Scales.
So much of the heavy lifting with the details is happening
Right.
with
It's
the
not. It's
normal
not
map.
geometry. Yeah.
Like if I
Yeah.
It's not because I had a very high poly
Right.
sculpt to pull this off. I think it was like 12 million faces,
In Blender again.
and right
Yeah.
now yeah, all in Blender, and right now it's like 26,000, including. I mean, yeah, that's excluding the teeth, but it doesn't add up that much more. So if I take off the
Right. It's
normal
just
map,
flat.
I it's flat. Of
Oh
course, there
yeah.
is a little bit of roughness going on. Yeah, and I could take that off
It
as well,
still
and
looks pretty
it's
good. You've got those. Yeah. There's a lot of detail there.
yeah. There is that is because I kind of there's a feature where you can kind of it's it's on the multi-res modifier where you can deform the base mesh to what it is capable of deforming based on the high topology,
Right.
high poly mesh. There's that feature which kind of deforms it based on that. So the initial retop didn't look like this. That happened right after I completed the multi-res sculpting. Maybe I should explain in
Yeah.
detail, but that would
Yeah.
take
I
a little
we
too
you look
long
up.
for
I'm
this
sure
session.
in a bunch of your videos because usually I don't know if you ever get into this, but another thing that I always love is in all your YouTube videos. Usually you have a breakdown at the end of them, which is
As-
so
yeah.
great.
And I also have a cavity map, which is are you
No,
familiar with cavity
or
maps?
is a cavity map a displacement map?
It
Okay.
kind of looks like that, but this is it's more like
Okay.
an ambient
Yeah.
occlusion
Right.
map.
That's what it looks like, I guess.
Um, but it's the way it works is it calculates how far away the surface is from its mean point or something like that. I wouldn't know how to define it mathematically, but this is what a cavity map looks like. And I'm mixing that with the base color, which I've textured there, texture painted. So all of that stuff, I mean, it kind of looks impossible to
Yeah.
go in and paint all that, but this is coming right from the sculpt. I didn't have to paint
So in the
that. That's
sculpt,
coming
you're
from
doing
the
little.
sculpt.
You're using a brush maybe or something with little the scales,
Yeah,
right?
a bunch of different
and then
brushes.
that's taking that,
Yeah,
baking
yeah,
it into a cavity map, which you're then using with the diffuse to
yeah,
get this kind of
yeah,
more
exactly.
detailed look. Yeah.
Yeah, so now we have all of these things in the texture itself. And on top of that, when you add in the roughness and the normal, we get something that looks
Just
like
looks fantastic.
this. It looks better
Yeah,
in
right.
cycles, of course. But am I even in cycles? No, not for this one. Okay, I think I should just reset this project in
Yeah.
case I changed
That's the
something.
nice thing about having the worst feeling is when you have a base project that you use for something and you accidentally hit save on when
Yeah.
you've added things to it and you're like, oh no. Oh yeah, I do that all the time.
Thankfully, the autosave
Oh, that's
feature works
great.
extremely
That's
well
not
in Blender.
one of
so,
Maya's
yeah,
strengths. Maya likes to
yeah.
screw you at any opportunity it can.
Cool. So we bring in the Raptor again. Important to check
Every
automatic
time.
bone orientation when importing FBXs. So we'll turn off the first one. And I would rename this Rococo 2. So how long is this?
It's very
thing?
long.
It's quite long. 800-ish frames.
waiting.
So
Yeah.
we'll handle that. Yeah. Okay.
So
now,
what is this model on the left? This is a Mixamo skeleton?
Yeah, this was even this one.
Yeah, how did
I didn't talk
you
about the rig at all. Maybe I
Yeah.
should quickly do that. Yeah. So, do I even have? Yeah, here it is. I saved that just to show off on this on the stream. So this was the armature that I started with. This is not even Mixamo rigged. This was just some armature
Okay.
that I got off of Mixamo.
Yeah, yeah. You just
Does that
downloaded
make
a
sense?
character and
And,
you killed the character and you grabbed the skeleton because you want all the
yeah,
bones, the proper amount of bones, right? And named whatever the
right.
same. Yeah.
Exactly. That was it. And then I just
So you
fit
just
that onto
literally
this thing.
bent
I
the
made that like
back
this.
and you just fit it onto
Yeah,
your. Okay, interesting.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you
I
just
go into edit mode and I select all of
right,
these, and then I do
right, and make
that,
them
and then I do
longer and make them
this, and then I
shorter
do
and fit
that.
them on so that they fit your
Yeah,
sculpt.
yeah,
And then automatic
yeah.
weight
I,
painting. There.
yeah, and for this one, I haven't gone in
Right.
and done the jaw yet. Um, yeah, but it's the same process. So, one thing special that I've done here is that it has this damped track tail, which if I grab um, this and move it around, it moves the tail
Okay, so
like that automatically.
you've added a bunch of bones to the pelvis, I assume, right? And
Yeah,
then you
right.
just extended it out along the tail, and then you add. So what is this? This is it's a damp track. What did you say?
Um,
Damped
yeah,
track.
it's this constraint track. Yeah, and I'm saying that one of the bones is the target, and what bone it is parented to, or what is the subsequent bone. There's a really good tutorial, which I mean there are a couple of tutorials which show you how to do it, and it's really simple.
No, no, no,
But
no.
I don't think
But
we
but
should go into
basically, what you've
that
done is a
in
procedural tail
this
movement
spending.
based on where the pelvis is moving. It's going to kind of
Yeah,
follow and whip around. Is it fully dynamic or is it
yeah.
driven by like a noise?
No,
Okay, so
no,
it's
it's dynamic.
that's awesome.
Um, yeah, I could still
Right.
add noise to it
Oh,
if I wanted to. I always have that option to do that to any
is that
bone.
through the nonlinear
That is
add-on or no? It's just and
no,
it'll play
no,
with the
no.
dynamics.
It's you just have to go into the
Oh,
dynamics
okay,
comes afterwards.
interesting. Blender.
First are the keyframes. The dynamics are done at last. All right, so now let us retarget. Okay, I'm gonna hide my raptor for now so that we can retarget this onto this. So let's just go and see how it compares first. I think that is somewhat okay.
Right.
Let's maybe first try how well this works
Yeah.
and then see if we need to fix it.
If I need to put on that suit again, I can.
Um, so we're gonna choose Rococo 2, which is the one that you recorded, and then
So you're
the
just gonna
retarget
retarget and then you're
armature.
gonna
This
fix it
one
in the NLA in the
in
animation layers,
the
right? Yeah.
animation layers. Yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna build bone list. All of this should work perfectly, and then we say current pose auto scale. Maybe it's a little too small, so I wouldn't
You
turn
just do
on
it
auto
yourself.
scale, and instead yeah, I'm just gonna make it a little bit bigger, and then
Oh, it's
what are
missing.
all these bones that are?
Right, it's the
It's
fingers.
the
It's like
hand
three
because I
fingers.
got
Yeah,
rid.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, it's
Scary to
it's
see those
good that I
blanks.
caught it.
Yeah.
Oh, that was quick. Wow. Okay. Okay, that is good, I think. Look at that.
Wow. And so there's going to be cleanup, right, on the feet, obviously.
Um, let us hide the source armature. Okay. Yeah, this we need to try something else with it. You know what? I think I saved a copy right before I hit retarget, so now I can go back and I'm just gonna go into pose mode and just on the first, not the first frame, or maybe even the first frame. So I'm just gonna rotate it
Yeah.
and kind of put it on the same angles, and the arm as well.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And also from this
Right, go
angle, it
backwards.
needs to go back. Oh, the
Yeah.
collarbone has to go forwards, and yeah, that looks about right. And the
Right.
hand bone has to kind
Yeah.
of tilt down. Let's try that. I'm still not 100% sure, like about the scale. Maybe I leave auto scale on. Let's see. This still involves a little bit of experimentation, especially for a thing like
Yeah,
a
it's
raptor.
non-human. I mean, this is a whole
Let's see.
separate kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. Okay, I'll leave auto scale on. Let's see. Let's turn off the Rococo.
Oh, I think it's
Oh, God, what
because
Oh,
yeah, it was
shoot.
yeah,
I
right.
should have had
Which
some current.
I don't know though if rest is gonna work because sometimes
Okay.
rest or current doesn't actually do.
Is it? Or maybe I really didn't pay attention to that. Maybe not.
Oh man, we gotta do it
Okay.
again. Yeah. Oh
A few
god.
more seconds.
Well, you're really fast at
yeah.
it, I guess.
Okay. Front view. The thing is, when you're kind of working with your own model and you've rigged it yourself, you kind of know
Right.
the ins and
Yeah.
outs of that rig. And
Right.
I'm not usually this fast with something else.
Yeah.
And also, I've done this a few times to make sure it works.
Yeah,
And
of
yet
course.
it
I mean,
fails.
and I. Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So it worked. Yeah, right. That's what you
Look,
want.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that.
That is
Okay. Interesting.
That is working. Now we're gonna turn that off and bring back the Raptor. So all that is left
So you're gonna add the
is
Yeah.
get into
Okay.
the Mixamo add-on and select this
Oh,
one.
create control rig.
And before
right.
that, we need to make a control.
Which I
rig.
love that you can do
Yeah.
in any pose, and it doesn't have to be in a T pose, and because it's Mixamo, it knows.
Yeah, and also you could. Yeah, and
Oh.
also you can zero it out.
Oh, wow.
To its
That's cool,
rest
too.
pose if you want, and that's cool. Yeah, and now I have to parent it to that. Although I'm not gonna. I'm
Weights,
just gonna
yeah.
do automatic weights. Yeah, so I'm gonna select the armature last and Control P automatic weights. And now if we just want to test it really quick.
It looks
Oh,
so
cool.
cool.
That
That's
looks-
crazy.
Oh,
yeah, for the-
maybe I
for-
should-
yeah.
Control Z that. Oh, that
Yeah.
the dynamic tail is like
Right. Yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't
It's-
remember where it was. So the moment you move it,
Yeah,
it
that's
kind
so
of is
frustrating. You got to
moved.
reset it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so now I just gonna select this.
Oh, pose mode.
Oh, I should get out of pose mode. Yeah. Yeah, and apply animation.
And anyone who's joined recently, this workflow Rog just went through with a humanoid, which might look less confusing than what we're looking at right now because this is a very specific thing. And then, oh god, that looks so good.
Okay. And now
Right, you just
first
change
we gotta
the hip,
fix up
right,
a
and
few
then the
things.
feet, right?
The
Yeah,
feet.
yeah.
Yeah, and so we turn on animation layers, and let's get into pose mode. And these controllers, they control how
yeah.
the foot. This, yeah, I don't even know how to say it. It controls that, and I can move that something like this, and I think the arms are
Yeah.
too tucked in. So
And the
we
arms are just going to
could,
be FK, so you just got to, do
which
it
one
yourself,
is it?
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
It
the
looks.
weight
I was
paint
gonna say it looks
isn't the
good.
best.
It looks pretty good. I think.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, but this
Yeah.
deformation looks kind of odd. It looks kind of rubbery and yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
we've just
Right.
done a
Yeah.
few clicks, so we
I think
can't
it looks
complain.
better than Mixamo often looks. I mean,
Yeah. Meximo has like,
hate that
especially around the
that
arms,
you get
it's
the like that thing.
yeah, that
Yeah. It's so
webbing
frustrating.
everywhere.
Yeah, and that arm, I think there was
Oh boy.
something weird
Okay.
about in Rococo.
Uh,
It like looked bizarre. Um, it was like,
yeah, there was a little bit of
yeah,
it was
I
asymmetrical
don't
a
know
little
what the
bit.
glove was thinking, but it was.
Um, in any case, um, so we have this, and
Wow.
look at the head. Oh my god, that I like how that just like does that.
Oh, it looks so good. The tail looks so good.
Yeah.
That is.
And it's so hard to manually animate that,
Oh,
which is how I
really?
did previously, where I would actually go in and like, oh, it turned here,
Counterbalance.
so the tail would
Yeah,
stay
looking
there,
at
and
pictures
then
of
it would be
squirrels and
delayed,
stuff, and yeah.
it is a pain. Yeah, it's not easy, but here it's completely automated. And look
Oh, it
from
just looks
above.
like
It's
that's, and it's always about, again, you could go in and you could probably make this perfect, right? But it's like, do you need to? But you don't,
yeah, we
put
could.
him in some reeds and shoot him from above, and you have like a perfect Jurassic Park looking thing. You're not gonna notice all these.
Yeah. And if we really wanted to, there
Right,
is
totally.
surely a way
Yeah,
to
you just
clean this up and have it work. I mean, if we really figured out
right.
at what scale it would retarget better and so on, this is a very solvable
Yeah,
situation.
mocap. You want to get
And
90% of the way there, and there's always going to be some
yeah,
hand cleanup, or you play within the rules
yeah,
of
yeah,
hiding mistakes, and you don't show the feet, and it's fine.
yeah.
You add camera shake, and it's like nobody will
And
notice. And you've just saved yourself a nightmare. Yeah,
yeah. And like, imagine if we had to manually animate this. I've done that before, and this would take an entire day or
right.
way
Yeah,
more. I mean, it's
right.
800 frames, so a few days to get that right. I mean, the hardest part isn't even like the head or the
Right.
tail; it's the feet.
The weight.
It is the
yeah.
weight shifting, like when it puts
Yeah.
and all of that, the slipping and all that, and it's so easy to screw things up.
Yeah, and then
And yeah, this got us 90% of the way in
right. Yeah, I mean, we
like
just
half an
recorded
hour.
this mocap,
So
and it
you
looks.
spend a few hours cleaning it up.
Yeah, and then I mean,
It's
you
totally worth
on
it.
your other model, you have the jaw, you add some clicking and some eye movement, and it's like it just looks great, and you just notice those small little things,
Yeah.
and I mean, it's just it's such an incredible result that you can get so quickly.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
did one more test.
Yeah, so this is with your proper.
Yesterday,
This is like much
and
right.
let
This
us.
is oh
No. This was, I think, I haven't even cleaned that up. I have a problem with my
oh
head sensor. There was something
well, that's no good.
preventing it from getting detected. So,
Right.
which is why the head doesn't have any movement. This was just to test the feet and with again the same cleanup that we did with animation layers, we're gonna get it back to that level. And that was about when I realized that instead of manually having
Right.
to repose it to retarget, we could
Get as
instead
close as
just
possible,
do
right?
that
And then do it on that frame.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah, but overall, like this
It's
is a great
making my
starting point.
acting, Velociraptor acting, look so much better with the tail.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, and the head is that's
So,
impressive. Yeah.
yeah, I'm so impressive. It looks so good. It just It just is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the delayed tail action is also
yeah.
like,
And the little wiggle and just every little
yeah,
shift that it has is so yeah, it looks so
yeah,
incredible. It just looks like it. I
yeah.
mean, I wonder what like a scientist would say, like a physiologist, like someone who studies motion in animals. Would they? It looks correct to me, but I wonder how accurate it is. Because I bet it's actually surprisingly accurate, right? Because it's just using physics to follow.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. The tail and all that, and I mean, since we're not manually animating it, we couldn't have done too many mistakes. I
Right,
mean, you are
right,
a physical being,
right.
so you
Yeah,
obey physics
yeah,
to
right.
that degree.
As opposed to hand animating when you're like,
Yeah,
there's not a built-in right. There's
yeah,
not a
you could
built-in
do
physics
anything.
sensor like there is on the human body.
Limit. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. And if we just manage to straighten out
Right.
a few of those glitches and twists and all that, I think it's a pretty solid workflow for, like, we could crunch out a bunch of stuff once we have like a solid setup. Like, if you can manage to animate 200 frames, you could do
Right.
20,000 frames in the next week, and without having to go
Yeah.
in and fix anything, because
You
you've
just
done it
new animation,
procedurally, and
new
all of that
animation, and you just
is
yeah, as long as that start pose
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah, because the animation layers just applies the same correction to all of that. Unless if your animation is consistent in the performance, then the
right.
result is going
I
to be
wonder if
consistent
for
with
the
that.
starting pose, because you figure out right the ideal starting pose. If you figure out the ideal starting pose, is there a way
Yeah,
in Blender to just snap a because it's the same skeleton, right? Copy the pose.
yeah. I wish.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
wish.
Yeah.
I wish there was something like that.
That would be
Yeah.
great. Because then you wouldn't have to worry about that starting
Um,
pose, right? Because you just snap it. Yeah. But yeah. But I'm sure figure outable.
maybe if we can retarget inside
Right.
of Rococo Studio, I'm really
Yeah.
curious what that's gonna be like. But when it does come around, if there is
Yeah.
something to take care of
That's
stuff
the
like
goal.
that,
Yeah.
that
Yeah. It
would be amazing.
probably non-humanoid characters. We'll see about that. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
But
that's
hopefully, yeah. With the T pose,
okay.
I've already seen a bunch of the retargeting. It's just
Mm.
it's so it already works. It's just it will crash, and so we need to figure out all those bugs before actually releasing those things. I just saw a big update they did on beta, and I think we have a new version coming out in June that'll fix and add a bunch of new features. Hopefully, make it like stable to the point where I can actually start using it more because it will be better. It's just getting there.
Nice.
Yeah, man. Well, I think.
Cool.
Oh yeah, go please. No, no,
And
no.
yeah. I wanted to talk about the rig
Oh
that I
yeah,
did for
yeah,
the
yeah.
Quiet Place Monster. And that one has a really weird
Yeah.
bone structure. Maybe one sec. I don't have a blend file for it because that was done in
So
Max,
when
I
was
think.
that?
It was. It's on my Instagram. Once.
Hold on, let me. I just pulled it up.
Just
Oh yeah. And the one that it was on your
it was.
desktop and everything, when it was like walking around your desk, wasn't that?
Yeah, but I also had a fake one where it's standing in front of a green screen and
Oh
doing something.
yeah.
I think it's in the end. I'm trying to see
Yeah,
if
here it
I
is.
can find it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I found it.
I love it when you do these things.
Here. So this one was harder to do because initially what I did was I took some really long PVC
Right.
pipes. Yeah, and then I just went around doing that. And I mean,
Right.
my hand is still here. It is like, look at that.
Right.
This is
Right.
supposed to be the wrist. It's actually the same structure as us, except
Is all
this portion
right. And it's just all
is like
hand.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that
Which
long.
it kind of right. It's on its
Yeah.
knuckles. Yeah.
Yeah, so what would happen is a small jerk here would
And
mean
looks
that
really
that whole
light.
thing is swinging
Yeah.
around so much. Yeah, yeah. So what I did was I just disabled the animation for all of those the front limbs
Right.
basically, and I made them also IK and just manually like animated
Right.
the IK platforms, and that's all. So sometimes when mocap doesn't give you what you want, you just turn off the parts of it that don't work and do the rest.
And so this is was this
Um,
using this is IK
and
you said. So was this using how did
yeah,
you create that control rig? And was that before the Mixamo control rig situation? Oh, this is in Max.
yeah, that was before that. It
Ah.
was
Yeah,
yeah,
which
this was
has
in
those
CAT, yeah.
IK, really great IK. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I brought that over back into Blender because I still prefer to do my
Right.
lighting and all that in Blender. I'm just so used
Yeah.
to it
I
at
mean
this
Max
point. Yeah,
stuff.
but that was yeah. I mean, Redshift is a really good solution for rendering in Max. It's extremely fast and all that, but
Yeah.
like the whole
You know what you
material
know.
tab and all
And it's
that,
like that's why I
it's
use
not easy.
Cinema
Yeah.
for I prep. I'm like working in Unreal, but I'm prepping everything in Cinema because I know it and I like understand it and yeah. I used to feel really bad about not using Cinema so much, but it's whatever works, it's like the program and use that, and as long
Yeah.
as it works, there's no right or wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's easy to feel like you're doing it wrong, but it's like, did
That's
you
true.
make something that you liked? Then it was right. It's fine. There's no,
Yeah,
I don't know. I was judging
that's true.
myself for like not. I was like, I should be using Unreal more because it's the future. And it's like, well, use it if you want, but it's fine. Yeah,
There
I
are
don't
no
know.
shoulds. Yeah,
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 yeah.
I agree with
Okay,
you.
well, I think we can call it, man. Thank you so much for those 2 hours of
Okay.
showing us all the secrets. I'm so excited to put this up with the VOD with like the 4K of your screen because this has just got to be so useful to so many people. We really appreciate you coming on and showing us.
Thanks a lot. And a lot of this, I mean, I
Right.
was super unfamiliar with. Like before I got into motion capture and using Rococo, and like the first time, like I heavily relied on your tutorial, and I would like have a bookmarked page of that, and like,
Right, yeah.
okay, click, okay, what does he do? And like coming from there to kind of slowly trying to figure out solutions to awkward problems
Yeah.
that most people aren't talking about. Like there aren't any tutorials talking about retargeting humanoid motion capture onto like awkwardly
Yeah.
designed creatures. And yeah, I've also used it for when we made the Spider-Man short film a few months ago. I tried using the smart gloves
Oh,
to animate
interesting.
Spider-Man swinging. So yeah, and that actually worked really well because I could use my shoulder
Right.
as the pivot point for the webbing, and then these arcs are really natural
Right.
motion. So I could do that, but the only problem is I
Yeah.
couldn't do flips with my hands, which was when I went in and like manually did the whole thing
Yeah.
the other way. But I was really hopeful because I could get
Done.
all of that
Yeah.
swinging
And like
looking super natural.
you
Yeah.
can do the easing. You can do the ease. Oh, you
And
were
these are the
using
feet?
You
Yeah.
were using your fingers to the
Yeah.
feet. Oh, that's
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. So I could like do
Right.
that, and then also like he does that kip up sort of thing, like when he
Wow.
swings in and then does that,
That's
and
so
all of that
cool. Yeah,
worked
because it's
really
fun. It's
well.
like it's a super.
Um, yeah,
You animate to expectation. It's like physics don't matter at that point. And so I would imagine you want it like maybe he jumps
yeah,
and then it like eases into it and then he kicks off and like it's not physically
yeah,
accurate, but that's doesn't
yeah.
you can art direct it maybe a little bit better when you're doing it with your arm. That's funny.
Yeah, yeah. And the only problem
Right.
was navigating through the buildings, because I didn't have anything here. I
Right.
was just blindly going all over the place, and trying to fit that onto a CG
Yeah.
set was kind of getting complicated. And for that, I think the manual way was probably the best, because there's not a lot you can do
Right.
to
Yeah.
animate something so crazy. Um, but I've also used it for making something like a snake, where I use the glove to do
And
all
then
of
you can
that.
just hook up,
And
yeah, like an
I
IK,
think we used it
what
on,
like with the tail or whatever, right? And then just
yeah, you could just retarget that to any bone. It doesn't even matter what, like it could just
right,
be a bunch of
yeah,
boxes,
yeah.
and it
I
works.
I'm always
Yeah.
curious to see
So
more of that sort of like I've always
is
wanted to see a puppet show like in Eevee because you could do it like real time in Eevee, right? And you just parent the jaw
yeah,
to the
real time. Yeah, yeah.
or you figure out some sort of and you could and just do like
Yeah,
googly
there's
eyes with dynamic balls in them or whatever and yeah and
yeah,
I think there's so many things it's so easy to do but I see so little of it so I love that you're doing that because it's
yeah,
great it's like another hacky workaround and it works it's great
yeah, yeah. And there's like we could complain about not having established workflows and tools that make it easier and all that. But it's all out there. Like the motion capture data is basically a file
right
that says how much a bone moves. So, like back in the day when animators or like when they made the Mummy or something like that, they were probably going in and
yeah
actually dialing in coordinates and struggling with all of that stuff. And here it's already 1,000 times easier. So I think we've kind of been a bit too spoiled with all of that. That kind of makes us like want
yeah
something that just automatically works. Like especially when you're dealing with AI and deep fakes and stuff like that. Um, yeah, but it's interesting to see a world wherein we have all of that insane automatic modern stuff, and then we also have these like numbers and
well it's
moving up
fun
and
I mean
down kind
yeah
of
it's
problems.
interesting that
And
because I you want it all to work you want it all to work it seems so easy when you see someone make something like that sort of stuff and then like even with the deep fakes right I think there's so much it's like it looks great and then somebody goes in and
oh,
they have to manually roto like the base of the neck and there's like always that little I wonder
oh,
if we'll ever get to a place where you don't have to do things like
yeah,
that but I don't think I may but
yeah,
like
yeah.
I
I
don't
think we
know
will.
I think it's where there's always going to be maybe not and maybe it'll just all eventually be perfect but um I think not anytime soon, right? It's there's going to be this little layer of finesse that always needs to be sprinkled on top, which is always it's so
Yeah,
easy compared to
yeah.
what it was, but yeah.
I think yeah. I know what you mean. I mean, making a deepfake is not hard, but making a deepfake look
Exactly.
photoreal is very hard. It's yeah.
Yeah.
It's completely two different things. Like 90% of the deepfakes we see
Right.
aren't
Yeah.
good at all. And it takes so much to make
Yeah.
one that if it has to
It's
be
going to
perfect,
require a
then
little extra. But that's
it's
where,
just an
it's
extreme
like
case.
you like with the
Yeah.
Velociraptor, you're like there's you just have to play around within the limits of like the tools and how much time you have and then it's fine because there's so many things you can do in camera to hide maybe that's like just a different lighting setup means that okay, the silhouette is fine, like and then you could just, that's what's so great I think about all these tools and the real, you're an Eevee and you're like, well, let me just rotate the sun this way, and you're like, oh, that looks fine, and I'm distracted by the highlights off the eyes, and I don't see the feet sliding because it looks so good, and or whatever, and so it's funny how you can get so close, and then if you're not using little tricks, it like might not look great, or it might not look the way that you want it to, and I don't know, it's funny. It's so easy to get 90% of the way there, which is I think what you should always be aiming for, and then you got to use clever tricks in CG, add fog, add whatever it is, add a little, it's out of focus. Fine. It's like it's that's where like the storytelling versus the like perfect VFX comes in, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I do it all the time. Like there's always a whole process of hiding mistakes in the end.
That is like it's a real skill to have, is hiding mistakes that aren't perfect. It's an essential skill, I think, especially in the age of generalists, where we're all like, I'm very close, but if I shine full light on this, it's not. You're gonna notice some weird stuff. Using the pillars to hide the stretchy texture on the, just move the pillar. Don't spend 2 hours retexturing your setup. You don't need to. Put a pillar there. Like, it's fine. Nobody cares if there's a pillar there. Right.
And they've done this in movies too. Like, it's not like it's not a cheap hack all the time.
It's I think maybe that cheap, I keep saying cheap and hacky, and it's not, it's clever and smart use of your time, and it's art.
And it does the job.
It's just anyway. Okay, I think we'll call it there, but thank you so much. Get some sleep, Raghav, and I don't know, everyone, and we'll put links to your stuff down below and everything, but I highly encourage everyone to just follow Rog's channel, because interesting, fun things come out all the time, and they're usually with characters that I love, is there anything that we should stay tuned for that you want to mention?
We have a horror video that's coming out in the next few days, and that also has all of the animations done in Rococo. So
nice. I'm sure that we'll be sharing all of your things on your Insta too.
Thanks, and we
so
will
good.
Be
I
making
love seeing those breakdowns.
Well,
it's always the coolest just to
we'll
see the process.
Posted.
I think it's so helpful. It really is like, I don't want to just blow smoke up your butt, but it's like I think there's a bunch of creators who really do a lot for the community, and like what you've done, the breakdowns are just, not everyone does that. It's really valuable. I will say thank you on behalf of all of us for that. It's really great.
Thanks a lot.
I'm sure it's a ton of work
glad to hear that. To go back in,
open up that project file,
find the right things, and all. I'm not screen recording as I'm working all the time, so I kind of have to go back and pretend like I'm doing that, and then, and especially with sculpting, like I've already completed the sculpt, and then I go and
like
erase some of it,
and bumps, and you're like, yes. Make it look good. I'm doing it right. I'm sculpting. It's easier than scrolling through 7 hours of sculpting footage, which is just a waste of time.
No way. And I don't want so much footage on my drive.
And then you find stuff from a year ago, and you're like, this is a 10 gigabyte file. What's in here? Oh, I left to get a coffee, and my computer was on. Oh, cool. That's a waste of space. Okay. I'm gonna say goodbye, everyone.
Okay.
And then just stay on
everybody.
Riverside for a second, and but we'll say goodbye to the stream. Thank you all for tuning in.
Right.
We'll be posting the high res soon, and see you guys. Bye.
Awesome. Bye.
Boom.